Carolina, Director of Student Media and Director of Communications for CMBAM. And I will just pass it off to Nate to introduce yourself.
Yeah, so Nate Laursen, I'm at Utah State University and President-elect for CMBAM this year.
I'm Heather Howard. I'm the Awards and Membership Recognition Director, I think we call them now. And I've sent you like 15 emails this week.
Ellen Hernandez. I'm the Secretary Treasurer for CMBAM, the Business Manager and Director for the Daily Universe at Brigham Young University. Happy to be here.
Hello, everyone. I'm Sandy Matsui with the University of Hawaii at Manoa with Student Media. And we have Kaleo News, KTUH radio station, UH Productions Video, and literary publications.
Hi, I'm Joanne Shiosaki with Gonzaga University, Assistant Director for Student Media, and I'm also serving on the awards committee with Heather.
I'm Joanne's sidekick. I'm Kayla. I'm also with Student Media at Gonzaga.
Awesome.
Hey, I'm Julie Salter, University of Alabama, Assistant Director of Advertising.
I'm Andrea Watson, Sales Marketing and Design Manager at Texas Tech University Toreador Media, which is primarily the Daily Toreador and its website.
I'll just call people in the order that I see them to keep this moving. Tammy, you want to go? I think you're muted.
Yeah, Tammy Dunsford with the Student Life in St. Louis with Washington University.
Awesome. Patrick?
Patrick DiDomenico, Advertising Director for the University of South Carolina, Garnett Media Group.
Awesome. Kathy?
Kathy Szynski, General Manager, Office of Student Publications at the University of Michigan.
Awesome. James? You're muted, James.
Hi, everyone. I'm James Wilson, the Sales and Marketing Advisor here at the University of Michigan.
Ashley?
Hi, I'm Ashley. I'm in Hawaii with Manoa Now, Kaleo, Hawaii Review, KTUH, and UHP.
Awesome. Sherry?
Sherry West with Western Kentucky University, Operations Coordinator there.
Awesome. And then Dominique?
Yes, I'm Dominique Lee from VCU. I'm the Sales and Business Development Manager.
Awesome. Well, I think that's everybody, right? We have 16, four. Okay. Well, I guess I'll start Leslie added late. Leslie, you want to just say hello and introduce yourself quickly? Sorry.
Hi, I'm Leslie Murphy, Northwest Missouri State, and I'm home alone right now, so that's why I was late. Everyone's waking up.
Gotcha. Well, it looks like I'll just get the discussion started. I think the topic is revenue projections, and I think we're all starting to get a handle on maybe what's out there and what's not coming back. I know everybody obviously was impacted this past year. We were down. I was looking at our numbers, and Patrick, who's here on the call, has been with us for 2 years, and he was able to turn us around where we were losing revenue from year to year. We were actually on an upward trend, and we were at our peak. I think we did close to $700,000 at our very highest. And last year, I think we were projected before COVID to do 360-ish. We ended up at 3. Next year, I don't even know where to begin, really. And I thought this would be a good discussion because, you know, we are cutting back our opportunity for advertisers to spend money in print, which is obviously the most lucrative for most of us. And we're going from a weekly to strictly digital. And we'll have 2 special print publications that we're planning to publish in the fall. And so our inventory digitally is limited. And, you know, if you run the numbers, you just can't do as much. So we are in the process of trying to identify what to even set as a realistic revenue goal. I know Patrick has had a difficult time getting folks to have conversations with him about their plans. And so I think this is really just a good opportunity for us to share experiences. And has anybody got a handle on what they're going to project or what their plans are for projecting revenue at this point?
Does anybody have a handle on anything at this point?
Well, we have just passed our deadline on selling orientation for the orientation office, and last year we sold about 10,000, and this year we have sold just over 3,000. I mean, it's a huge difference, a huge loss.
Yeah, we did our new student guide and it went down from 14 to 10, and then we finished our back to school and it went down from 13 to 8.
Are you guys finding the same issues that we're having? Is that we've got a lot of apprehension on clients wanting to spend money right now because they just don't know what's happening with the whole university as a whole, even though we've rolled out some freshman things. We're also finding some struggles with clients who are struggling themselves, and so they're looking at their own budgets. Are these across the board what everybody else is kind of seeing, or is there anything new that we're not experiencing that I can look forward to?
No, our on-campus clients, either we couldn't reach them because no one is on campus currently, or when we did reach them, they were just so concerned about the incoming budget cuts that they know are going to happen that no one was willing to spend. And then local businesses were either we don't have any money, or we're worried we're not going to have any money, or why on earth are you calling us? We don't have any money.
Well, I think too, the other thing that I'm starting to see, because we're selling our Welcome Week issue right now. Luckily, most of it was bundled with our orientation issue. So right now we're a little less than half of last year's total. But hey, I will take half. But some of the folks that normally wouldn't advertise in it, like athletics, because they don't need us generally, they're actually relatively interested, but their concern is that they may not know what their plan is in time to accommodate our deadlines for it. So that's the other hiccup too, is that our timetables don't seem to work with the university's timetables, because the university keeps going, but wait, we might change our minds again for the 798th time. But it also doesn't help that our numbers are going in entirely the wrong direction, because heaven forbid we tell people they should stay home and wear a mask. And apparently all of our students decided to go hit the bars when they opened up. So that may pose a whole different wrinkle to everything.
Is anybody having success in conversations with clients?
We have here at the Student Media Center at VCU, what I started doing is working with people on a shorter term basis. So even if it's, we have our weekly telegram, our daily telegram that goes out that says the events that are happening that day, the events that are happening next week. And I just contact people like, hey, I see that you're having this event. I provide them analytics from our website, and like, we're getting a lot of traffic due to our students covering the protest so diligently. So we could use, if you would like to reach our audience while also helping out the Student Media Center, that would be great. So just showing on how it would benefit both sides, really with outside businesses, contacting them about what they possibly need. Because some people are looking to hire people. Some people are, you know, they're just opening back up. And like Andrea said, you know, I'll take half. Just working with people's budgets has been the biggest thing lately. You're like, okay, well, what do you need? And I just, as long as I get approval from my director, you know, we'll slice a price in half if it'll help both sides.
So when this happened and we all kind of made a different decision of what to do with people who were mid-contract, has anybody set a plan already of what they're going to do when all of our universities go online again, whenever it may be, with those contracts. Like some people just let people out. Some people said we need to reallocate it to the next semester, or we need to move everything online and keep you in it. Has anybody set out a plan so when we're selling, we can say, if Northwest goes online, this is what's going to happen to your relationship with us? What are you doing?
Leslie, we have found it kind of depended, in the spring, it depended on the advertisers. Some of them wanted the expenditure and they wanted a credit because they knew they wouldn't have the money in the fall. And small businesses like small restaurants and bars, they needed the refund. And so it kind of depended on the client. I just wanted to also ask you all, it's a related question, is my sales staff is asking for some type of statement or guarantee. So if in fact you sign a contract for this fall and if the university should close, advertisers want some kind of guarantee of what, if we'll refund or what we will do. Has anyone run across that need from clients?
I think I told this story on another call, but we ran into an issue with our bus billing. And so we bill, like it's a semester rate for our transit ads. And halfway through the semester, they were still paying monthly. So we divided up monthly for most of the clients. And so that's the only thing where people were paying ahead. And what I did was I told clients they could use that credit that they paid a month ahead of what I thought. Maybe we're coming back after spring break and then we didn't. So they could use it for something over the summer if they wanted to do newsletter or social media, or I said you can roll it into the fall. And then they can pay for bus signs that I hope we're doing in the fall. And so that prepaid, I kind of use that as a prepayment. I had no discussion with anybody in my office about anything having to do with contracts. So our clients get a contract for their spend across the whole year. I just assumed in March we dropped that and everything went weird. And I'm not going to go back and be like, you didn't spend 10,000, you only spent 7 because we stopped printing and now you're going to owe me. I'm not going to talk to them about you had $3,000 that rolls over. No one in my office has asked me to do anything with that. So I'm just pretending like those contracts disappeared. If I have clients doing something with me in the summer, I'm offering them the same contract discount that they were on before, even though I'm sure they aren't to the spend where they were supposed to be, but they signed that and it's not their fault to me that they didn't end up getting to run all those ads in April. But I don't know what to do about the fall because it feels like a bad idea to set up an annual contract amount that I have a feeling at some point in the year, everything blows up. Just to say like, we're gonna ignore it again in the middle of the year if this comes up. I also don't want to not have some kind of discount or contract for them. So I even talked with a couple of my clients that normally have it about, how do we go about this? Do you want to just pretend like everything's going to be fine and we give you a lower contract discount? She normally, it's a community college, so she normally gets a PO for the whole year. Like we plan her spend now for like the rest of the year into summer next year. And she doesn't know what's going to happen. So as long as we're all flexible, then what does it matter if we're doing a contract? Just do it and they get the discount. And if something goes wrong, maybe we just ignore it again. I don't know. That's maybe not a exact answer of what we should do, but that's kind of what my head's thinking.
Julie, we did the same thing. I mean, basically we just did like almost a debt forgiveness where, you know what, pandemic's on, you guys are off the record. We don't do contracts, we do insertion orders. We do the same thing y'all do. We do contracts for spend that entitles them to a certain discount percentage should they buy more during the course of the year. But pretty much, and I've signed new clients for this coming year and basically proactively took the approach of, hey, listen, if this happens again, we'll figure it out. They've been pretty flexible with that response. And, basically I've I've had more success with campus partners this year than I have in my previous 2 years. Campus partners are more willing and able to move, once their budgets were approved, obviously, to move forward with me. It's getting the external customers and the business owners to really make that jump into making a decision to advertise going forward.
I know at one point folks had talked about, you know, as a gesture of goodwill, giving remnant space as a way to kind of build relationship and help local businesses. Is anybody still doing that or planning to do that as you move into the fall and see that you might have some inventory that's unsold in some of your digital properties? Are you anybody starting to think along those lines?
We offered some to help sell our back to school and new student guide publications. So if you bought an ad, then you got to pick one of the weeks leading up until the first week of school, and you got a rotating ad during the week of your choice for the summer.
It's something we've started to kick around the idea as we get closer to the semester starting. We're looking at our digital revenue, you know, and there's still a good bit of inventory. How we still have a lot of time to sell, but you know, again, there's not a whole lot of traction in those conversations with our clients. So we are starting to think about that concept of identifying people, local businesses who would resonate with our readers as a way to roll out an experimental digital coupon idea. We're just kicking around ideas to fill our inventory with more than just self-promotional ads. So that's kind of what we're looking at. But, you know, I think Patrick's has struggled with just folks communicating in general. Are you guys facing that silence as well, or are people talking to you, or what's the general feel in your market?
I mean, my biggest problem is that, again, we're in phase 3 on campus, and campus is our primary revenue generator right now, and that's a whole nother problem for us. But so just even catching people, I feel like I'm having to send, you know, because I don't dare try to call anybody because nobody's in their office, and so I feel like it's, you know, 7, 8, 9, 10 different emails, it feels like, to get a response of, oh, we don't know what our plan is yet. You could have told me that on the first one. But yeah, I mean, that's a struggle for us too. And some of our most regular non-campus folks are the bars who got shut back down again last week, or the week, it was right before the 4th. So I was optimistic I could sell a couple of those that normally advertise in our welcome week and back to school, because, hey, you're reopened and fantastic, you can have traffic. And then, oh, wait, we had to close them again now. So some of them I can't even in good conscience approach, because I'm like, they're closed again. I can't turn around and ask them to have these conversations because they don't know when they're going to get to reopen either. So, so yeah, it's frustrating on that front too, in terms of if people would just acknowledge, hey, we don't even know what we're going to do, I could at least file that away for future reference later. But just even getting them to respond to anything is, I would say, probably 3 to 4 times as hard as it was before.
We're having that same problem. We do a dining guide we sell in the summer, and we've decided we're not selling that because we're in phase 2. And it means that your dining room can be open 50%, and there's all these added expenses. And we sent out a nice letter to our dining guide clients saying that we're not selling, and we still have dining guides from last fall because we didn't do our entire distribution. And so one of the things as a goodwill gesture, we offered up that we will distribute these at freshman orientation, and that our plan is to sell the dining guide in spring for graduation. And out of maybe one of my sales execs sent out maybe a dozen of those letters, and he got one response back saying, thank you, it was really kind. We won't be advertising this year, but catch us next year. And then no response from everyone else.
Joanne, you bring up student staff. I'm just curious how many of you guys have active student reps working over the summer, or if this is falling on professional staff during this period.
We have 3 student staff right now, and it's slow. And of the 3, I have one's a returner who just got a full-time internship, but they're all working remotely, and I have 2 new people. And, you know, for the conditions that it is right now, they're doing well. But sadly, you know, as many of you, except for Patrick, you know, our online or on-campus partners who we have sold in the summer, hard to get a hold of, not in the office, not a priority to return our emails or our calls. And these were people who were very responsive last summer. But of course, there's all this, you know, on Gonzaga's campus, so much unknown, similar situation to yours.
I have 4 ad reps that have been working through the spring, summer. We've made some adjustments to their commission schedules and other things so that they can, you know, it's worth their while to work. But like Joanne, we've been juggling internships, which is typical in the summer anyway. Spring, summer is when they usually take off. And they're all working remotely. So it's been a challenge. They've had some success. More in the earlier conversation, they're also having a really hard time getting people to respond back. And I think part of that is it's summer and they're on vacation, but they don't know how to commit because they don't know what's happening. We don't know how to answer their questions because they're asking questions nobody has answers to yet. So we're just kind of dancing around each other, trying to figure things out.
And how do you compensate them for that? That's what we're struggling with is because Patrick's team is remote this summer and he's doing the bulk of the work, but we're trying to figure out what does the compensation for that team look like in the fall, because it's going to, I think, continue to be a struggle. So I'd be interested to hear, Ellen, it sounds like, are you revisiting your compensation for your reps, or how are they paid?
Probably. I mean, we haven't yet. Right now, we've always been on an hourly plus commission. So, but my students' hourly is way lower than the designers and the editorial because they get a commission, which then kind of equalizes it. I've had to make adjustments with products and look at things. For example, we did a mailer. We just finished that. We got maybe 40% of what we had the previous year for revenue on that one, and that came out in May, which was right in the heart of where nobody knows what's happening. So I took some of the revenues, the difference between what they sold and what we actually had last year, and I gave them 2% of that revenue to split as kind of a compensation for what they had missed. Now, we have university support to do that, to support our students that way, which is nice, and our School of Communications is supporting us on that. How the fall is going to be, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if we have to raise their hourly rate to compensate or to help them, you know, stay at that level. But my fear also is, you know, you pay them too much per hour, and what is the incentive to go out and sell? They're doing just fine with what they've got. I've got a great crew that's just hungry to keep things going and excited about. They're actually excited about working in this environment because of the opportunities to grow in a situation that nobody else has figured out. But it's still been a really challenge, and they have been frustrated by it. So I don't really have a new program or a new incentive or a new way of compensating. We're just kind of taking it product by product and month by month.
Ellen, when you say that you pay the sales staff a less hourly rate than like graphic designers, I mean, do you pay them minimum wage or something less?
No, my students get $10 an hour, and our designers get anywhere from what, 13 to 15 or something like that. So they're paid less, but with their typical monthly commissions, they can make at least that, around there. And then some months they can make a whole lot more.
Thanks.
Any other thoughts on students and compensation?
Yeah, so we were 100% commissioned for a long time. And then this past semester, I hired a lot of reps and we kind of pilot programmed because I knew they'd be graduating, so I'd lose them. If it didn't go well, then it was one semester's worth. And then I just had to figure out the two. But we pilot programmed essentially a monthly or twice a month amount that was given to them based upon performance indicators, right? So the amount of needs analysis they did, the amount of, there's kind of a standard that we set. And if someone wasn't meeting the standard or exceed, we had pricing structure based upon how we were going to compensate them despite commissions, right? And then we added commissions on top of it. We spent a lot more money on our sales staff than we had in past semesters, other than just straight commission. But the KPIs kind of been good in that they've focused on these things that they should be doing rather than just saying, make this many cold calls. It's make cold calls that lead to something, right? And so it helps kind of the new staff. And then I told them in July, because of everything we're dealing with, we might shift it, right? So we were planning on shifting back to a more commission base, or I think we overpaid them for the KPI type indicator stuff, like the salaried amount essentially is what it would be. But I think we're going to carry forward with that, just maybe at lower rates, because it still rewards them for the effort. They're still putting in things. And then if people are saying no because of circumstances, they're getting compensated for the effort. And then if they're saying yes, they still get those commissions. And so I wanted to change it, but I think that our pilot program actually kind of prepared us for what we're probably going to do this year.
We do have incentives in place too for new clients, for getting new people, new business, that kind of a thing, which has helped compensate the ad reps as, to the incentive to go out and try to find new business or to work with new clients. And it's kind of a
I guess I'll just add that we've also started to recruit other people that aren't necessarily on the sales team to learn how to sell and to go after different types of clients. So like our video team, we're very much inviting them to the sales team meetings, and we're engaging with them so they know how to go out and work with clients and try to get some of those kind of, I don't know, like weddings or fringe stuff that's on the edge that my sales team just doesn't have the time to go after. But if these guys do it, we're hoping it kind of bolsters what our sales team is trying to do. But no success yet, but we like where we're headed. We at least feel supported. And it's training students. And in the end, if we do that, we feel good.
So I guess shifting to national revenue, that may be a silly question. Has anybody heard anything from any of our agency friends or anybody hearing anything?
Like we talked about the flat desk. Now I can't remember who the client is. Adobe. So our campus has like a big Adobe partnership. And I just thought today I should email somebody and see where we are on that. I don't know, does anybody else work with Riddle and Bloom? They did an Amazon buy for me. So I asked them about our Horizons issue is going to be digital this year. And she just responded, she's super interested in a housing guide. So if people have housing guides, Riddle and Bloom may be an option there. But they did say they were working again with Amazon on something, but I get really minimal national money as it is. And so those are the conversations that I've had so far.
Riddle and Bloom placed Amazon for our spring housing guide back in February. And was originally super interested in like our orientation issue and our welcome week issue. And then of course everything shut down. So Amazon canceled all of that too, with them. But so I have pitched our welcome week issue to them again this week. And I haven't heard back from our contact over there yet, but, so it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. Because if anybody's got money, it's Amazon right now.
Curious about
It's my money.
is anybody having trouble getting paid from Flight Desk for things that they bought months and months and sometimes last election season? We're still going back and forth with them. I wonder if that was just us or if that's a common Flight Desk thing.
We had an issue with slow pay from them, and it took 2 emails, and then I finally copied the CEO Alex on the email, and miraculously, I believe Sarah, they paid. So
It took
it's
5 months, maybe.
Yep.
Wow. Thank you. Thanks. I appreciate that. Sorry, I can't figure out my video.
Well, that question that you bring up, I know it's a little off topic, but specific to Flight Desk. In the presentation, and I'm not sure how many on this call were on that when they were talking about all the political ad money that they've already kind of rounded up and ready to go for the fall. I mean, we've always been a political ads have to prepay policy, and I know Flight Desk does not want to do that. Does anyone have you worked with Flight Desk on prepay at all? Anyone on the call?
We have the same policy, but we worked with them, and they paid after 5 months, but yeah, they wouldn't budge. So projections, have you started to look at your budget to kind of figure out what your bare minimum would be for the year? I mean, that's kind of the approach that I've had to step back and take. Or have you guys gone through those exercises, or are there things on the table as far as it sounds like you're assessing products and publications and schedules? Anybody have tips or experiences that they'd like to share that might be helpful for the group?
We've taken a look at Western Kentucky, and right now our any campus advertising has to be approved through the provost office and the chief financial officer. So there's no spending being done on basically on anything unless it's approved by them. So we're not banking on any campus revenue coming in. So projecting out and looking at salaries and things like that, I've suggested to the director that we take a hard look at what we've sold on our welcome back and what money we hope to get back from any carry forward, which is not going to be much because they've made us spend the majority of that down. And we're probably going to end up having to cut salaries and everything across the board just to try to get through the semester and see how we fare out, because our welcome back did not bring in but maybe 40-50% of what we normally would bring in. So we're starting out the gate like everybody else pretty low.
Mm-hmm.
We are budgeting like we'll make no money in sales. We've been in a situation the last few years where we are able to essentially have our sales money pay for fund money. So it's the investment in what we do for the future or new equipment. And so we're budgeting really low. And because of that, we're relying on the student fees, the E&G and all that stuff, which is also a huge variable that we have to think about if it's going to be reduced. Well, we're lucky that we've kind of always done that like we don't need the sales to function, but we do need the sales to progress. But we're just being super conservative, I guess, like most of you are, that we're just keeping that number really low. And if we meet it, great. If we exceed it, we'll be really well. So if anyone has like a cool spreadsheet of how to do projections based upon percentages or something, that'd be cool to share with the group.
For those of you who receive university fees, I guess show of hands, how many are going to have a cut in those fees for the upcoming year? And so you don't know, Andrea? Is that what that is?
We just got our balance numbers from our student fees, and we typically get between 4,000 to 7,000 at the end of the year. And my accountant just texted me, and we are going to get 700. So I would imagine that that's going to be a big change in the upcoming year for budget, but when I talked to the registrar about doing our new student edition, the numbers look to be on track for freshmen. So maybe just a lot of students requested a refund this year because they had to, you know, basically leave town after spring break. So maybe that's why. But yeah, it's kind of scary.
Yeah, we haven't been told that there will be a change, but I'm not exactly holding my breath for that to be the reality that we get when it comes to our student fees. But until they tell us any different, we're just kind of here.
So we're assessing what we're doing. Has anybody come up with anything new that they're trying in light of the circumstances, or anything, any silver linings at all popping up?
I've said this on other calls, maybe similar to what Patrick's dealing with, where you guys are at, that our partnerships with on-campus groups seem to be coming stronger. And that we've approached them saying, look, we're all in the same boat. So if I don't charge you for advertising, you don't charge me for printing my magazines and stuff like that. And we're not fully there with all of them, but I'm seeing some silver lining there, and that some campus groups that used to just do stuff with us here and there are more interested in partnerships that may not equal revenue, but will reduce expenses for us. And I think that that's just as good.
So this is obviously a difficult topic to tackle, and it seems like we're all in a similar boat. Is there anything that we've not touched on that you guys, anybody would like to discuss? Questions about what folks are doing, or? Well, like Nate, we, go ahead. Were you talking, Nate?
Yeah, I'm just curious, maybe everyone kind of just take time. We probably all just got done or are currently budgeting. And I'm just kind of interested in what people are doing, you know. Like our state, the legislature said, you know, you're cutting budgets here. But what is that doing as far as, what percentages are we looking at? That I'm just kind of curious throughout the country of, I know it's all kind of just, you guess, right? That's called projections, right? But what methods are you guys using to decide how much you cut and where, right? Like some of you have mentioned such and such is down 40%. Is that kind of the way you're going to approach the rest of the year? Is that everything will be down 40%? Or are you, I'm just kind of interested in what people have been doing.
Well, I have been avoiding it. Today on the call with Tracy, she finally said that pretty much UA is telling them yesterday on a call, they have been saying, look at 3.5% to 5% of a cut. And I think numbers aren't looking any better for enrollment. And so they've given her a 5% budget cut. In like April, we sat down and looked at what our projections were for things coming up, which was like 1% of revenue in April. I mean, there was literally like nothing in April. And then a few things for the summer. So on that call, I said, do you have numbers that you know I need to be aiming for in sales to help us function? Because no one's asked me again for like, let's look at projections. And we're having to bid printing. So at the moment we're trying to get a new printer for our paper to go down from twice to once a week. And then like, there's like changes that I don't even have a rate card. Like people are like, can I have a rate card? I'm like, no, you can't, because I don't have a rate card for myself right now. So I've just been avoiding giving anybody ideas and what I'm going to sell until they ask me. And then at that point, I still don't really know. I mean, I took our mail out publication to new students. We took that to a digital flip book. I'm still selling it. We aren't doing that until August. And so I still have a couple weeks of sales. But I took the rates down noticeably because we went from a printed piece that went to the students' homes for parents and students to see to a digital flip book, which we've never done. And I wanted people to be able to do it. And I wanted to kind of create goodwill at the beginning of the semester. But my goal is to not change rates on anything else moving into the semester. I have gotten decent feedback. I've only had one person say, I'm not doing that and we're not doing any advertising with you. Now I've had several that haven't responded still and I'm following up, but campus people have been more likely to spend than I thought they would be. But I still I have zero idea in my head how to guesstimate what the rest of the semester looks like. Even after I'm the only one talking to clients, there are no sales students. And I already was in contact with clients most of the time. I still can't figure out what I think is going to happen. So I'm just avoiding it. And that's a long answer to that. But that's just some input from what I've had conversations with others and thoughts that I have going into it.
So Julie, when I have my one-on-one with Sarah on Friday, I could just use the I'm going to avoid it scenario. Would that be okay? I can I give you credit for that?
Sure. She'll love that.
And I'm avoiding coming up with your goal because I don't know how to do it.
I know. See, same. She's doing the same thing. Yeah. I mean, I just am at a loss. I don't know what to expect.
Well, I tell you, we got 10% reduction of fees across the board, and we have 4 budgets, one for newspaper, magazine, TV, and radio. And I'm in the process of reallocating those fees because some of our groups are healthier than others, but I've stripped all technology. I've stripped everything that does not contribute to just the core function of the operation. And so the next thing that I will have to cut, it would be between, I've already cut printing significantly, but there's still some money there. I'm really trying not to cut the student pay line. And so that's really the next big one that would be impacted. And so that's really the approach I've taken, kind of like you, Nate, is that we're just going to budget to function, and then anything extra will replace equipment that needs to be replaced. I mean, we're not budgeting for technology. We're not budgeting for anything other than staff and the bare necessities, pretty much.
I'm just kind of curious if for those of us that are around in 2008 or have records that go back, if we're looking at past times where we've had to deal with something similar, right? Like just a downturn in economy as general. And if we're using any of those to kind of help with projections, that was just, I don't know if anyone's done that, or I don't know, maybe that's my suggestion, just as you guys were talking, was maybe we look back at history and at least see what those numbers looked like and have them guide us a little bit. That was just a thought that came to mind.
Well, is there anything else on this topic, or, questions about fall? Any lingering I know we all have lingering concerns, but it sounds like we're all kind of just waiting to see, because it really is, like Julie said, it's hard, for me to give Patrick a goal, and it's hard, it's very difficult, especially when you don't know if what you're planning to do is going to come to fruition. Because one thing I don't want to do is be in a situation where we pre-sell a lot of things that we're going to have to then refund. So that was another part of the reason I'm glad that we've cut our weekly print issue, because I don't see that honestly happen. Even if we were to print weekly, I don't see us making it through the semester intact, if that makes sense. So that's my main concern, is getting to a point where we've pre-sold a lot of things that we then need to back out. So I guess we're really just trying to identify things that we know we will be producing and offering regardless of the situation. And I think print, unfortunately, is one of those things that can trip you up. If you're selling, we are still keeping 2 print issues, but if Patrick sells 10 grand and we end up not printing that, that's 10 grand we have to figure out how to repurpose or, just cut as not sold. So any other?
Yeah, Sarah, I have a question for Nate, and it kind of goes back to one of the happy hours that we had. Oh gosh, I don't even remember what month it is, because it feels like we've all been home for a year or more. But it was about being fiscally responsible and moving your still having advertising in the quote print publication, the PDF that was posted to issue. And I guess the question that I have for you is, when you were selling that or are continuing to sell that, how are you pricing that versus what a customer would have gotten for that physical print issue that's been distributed? Did you change your pricing? How are you promoting it?
So it was only for about a month's worth of issues, right? So it was about 4 weeks, 4 issues essentially, and we didn't make any changes. We essentially let them know that, in fact, it was a higher chance of seeing rate because of just distribution numbers, right? So we had 6,000 subscribers to the email that we were sending out, and we had 3,000 that we printed. So I think that most of them were just kind of like, okay, right? No one really saw big change in that. And it, like I said, it was only 4 issues, so it wasn't too big a deal. And then we saw such great success with our graduation issue, how we tried to kind of make that, and just kind of took sponsorship and gave away some good type stuff, which saw a lot of traffic. And we were then able to kind of show people, hey, look, you're still getting viewed, as opposed to the paper where I can just tell you my pickup rate, but I can't actually tell you if you've been seen, right? I know you have, but I can't give you exact numbers. So what's interesting as we go into fall is of all the years, we chose to go tabloid as well this year. So we're switching from our broadsheet to tabloid. And so we're basically restructuring all pricing, right? So we're going to be changing a whole lot of stuff. But now what we're doing is we're including some of those opportunities as kind of added value that's going. We're not selling it just by itself, because we do plan on still doing a print product. But now when we talk about it, we're going to be talking about the fact that our students are very used to reading this online now as our faculty and stuff. And it'll be viewed for a long time. So we haven't changed yet. And for those 4 weeks, there wasn't much a change that we needed to do, and advertisers, it just wasn't enough to kind of give you a good answer, honestly. But they appreciated us giving them, hey, you saw it, like your thing got seen. I can't tell you which ones got clicked on or anything like that, but like there was viewership there, and I think they appreciated that. So hopefully that continues as we go through fall, and it keeps our print product valuable. Yeah. If you guys have suggestions though on whether I should be charging more for it or something, I'd love to hear those.
Nate, did y'all track, did you do clicks and links in the interactive flipbook? Did you track any of that for clients, right? Like, I'm assuming moving forward, you'd have that info.
Yeah, so the version of issue that we use, which was the fastest, quickest way, doesn't let us track specific links. It's just links per issue.
Okay.
So they could be clicking on an article, they could be clicking on an ad.
Okay.
We don't have, but with a little more effort, we could do that, right? Any of us could do that. So I haven't gone down that path yet.
We are using something that's not issue, but I assume I will be able to do that. And after seeing, so I lowered the rates for Horizons because we're using the digital and not printing. So my cost was way less. And I wanted to make it easy to get people to do it. And so I assume that after seeing what the engagement is with the digital publication, how many opened it, what was going on, I'll have a better idea of how I might price digital, like regular papers or specialty things moving forward.
Yeah. One thing we thought about as a workaround was just taking like a Hootsuite or something, shortening the URL and then tracking that in a separate place so the link that we put is one that's trackable. So it means logging into another thing, but it at least will give us some kind of impact. We're really trying to help our advertisers. I know we've all been trying to do this for years, but we're really trying to help them understand that they should be tracking stuff like this too, right? Like when you buy ads, like look at your website traffic beforehand on the page that you want us to link to and look at it afterwards, no matter if it's with us or with any advertising that you do. Like if you're going to buy this stuff, make sure it's worth it for you, just like we are. And so a lot of them are appreciating that we're trying to do that for them. And then we ask them questions like, well, did you see an uptick in your traffic, or did you see more phone calls and stuff like that? But they can't even tell us whether or not they're going to spend with us. They don't respond to that very well right now either.
Well, we are coming up on 4. I was going to have Leslie do a push for the mega workshop. Does somebody want to take a stab? Nate? You're not gonna?
I got this.
Yep.
Heather's got it.
All right. So mega workshop is coming up the week after next and the week after that. The first week is your ad managers. The second week is your ad reps. And the deal is, folks, you just have to pay one registration fee. And you can send, I think we set up to 5 people to that on Zoom during the day to watch the whole thing. And it's going to be recorded so you can share that later with your staffs. So like I'm having all the ad reps that I've hired watch it this summer. And then as I hire more throughout the year, it's going to become part of our training. So it's a really great live resource for your students now, and a resource that will be videoed for you to check out later. And it is so stinking affordable. How much is it, y'all? Like 139? 140.
I think it was 169.
169.
I signed up last week, so
yes, I registered last week too, but I couldn't remember how much we'd paid. But like 169 for as many people as you want to have watch it. Like so affordable, such a great resource. And I mean, we have been looking, I know Leslie's been working really hard at getting speakers who are really experts in every bit of the things that they present. So
I'm working really hard to get Julie right now.
Yes.
I just emailed you.
You gave me the hardest one. You gave me the hardest topic. I don't understand how that happened. That's what I sent back. I might consider this. This is a hard topic.
Hey, I have a question. I signed up through the ACP portal because we had some editors going to it. Was that the wrong place to put my salesperson registration? Okay. We signed up.
Yeah, all of it is registered on that ACP portal. So you can have yourselves and you can register your ad managers and your ad reps at the same time.
Yeah, we'll be reaching out to whatever email you put on your registration to get the real list of emails of all the students that you're having to attend. soon, and then we'll create a little listserv of attendees and communicate with everybody that way.
I have a question regarding that registration, and that's clear. I understand that for the ad tracks, it's one fee for, 5 students basically, right? But that's not the case for the other tracks. Am I correct? It's per,
Right.
Okay, gotcha. Okay,
Yeah,
that was
the
confusing.
editorial ones are per student per track, and we're per school per track.
Got it. Thank you.
I didn't see it when I signed up last week, but is there a fee for some of those a la carte sessions, the Friday stuff?
No.
They are called a la carte, which sounds like there would be a fee, but no.
Yeah.
Totally named.
Great. Well, thank you guys for joining us. And Leslie, are we doing another one in 2 weeks? Is that the plan, or?
I think we will.
The workshop. Never mind. That would be mega.
Yeah, we're gonna skip because of the workshop, but we are planning for the fall semester to have some sort of content for the membership on a weekly basis, and we're gonna create a semester calendar ahead of time, so you know what's coming for the whole semester. So that's the plan right now. It's not fully finished yet, but that's the plan. But yeah, we'll skip during mega workshop those, and then we'll let you guys know when we pick these type of meetings back up.
And if you have not yet joined a CMBAM committee, that forum is still open, and we would love to have you on any or all of them.
And sorry I ran out 500 times. I'll have someone else here next time.
You have a cute kid, Leslie.
There's
You
2
said
of them.
entertaining.
Twins. Yeah.
Oh.
The other one didn't want to be on camera today.
All right. Well, I hope to see you guys in a couple of weeks at the workshop. Thanks for joining us today.
I'll just make one more pitch since Heather didn't, and that is to respond to her emails about the awards. Her commitments are hard.
We are making lots of cool changes and working really hard, and we've gotten 1 sentence of feedback from a member. So if you have something to say, we would love to hear it, but otherwise we'll have more stuff coming in next week.
All right. Bye, y'all.
Bye.